All right.
$25 a load.
It's
Remember when we were
3, 2,
How much
1,
space
go.
is 39?
It is 6:08, and I'd like to call the regular city council meeting to order. Lisa, can you take roll?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Van Hees,
Here.
Councilmember Beasy,
Here.
Councilmember Culler,
Present.
Councilmember Sander,
Oh, present.
Councilmember Straven.
Here.
Thank you. All present.
All right, we have a quorum. So at this time, I'd like to have everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would like to have Troop 430, the Bears and Weeblos, lead us in our flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, guys. Next we're gonna have agency reports and presentations. Do we have anything? We don't have any tonight. Any other presentations?
Should we approve the agenda first?
Nope. Okay, so now,
Okay, yeah. Oh, boy.
public comment?
No.
Approval of meeting agenda.
What?
Number 3.
I make a motion to
Number
approve the
3.
agenda.
Oh, I'd like to make a motion to, or no, do I have a motion on this
I'll make
table?
a motion.
All right, I got a first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Now we have the local agency reports, and we don't have any other presentations. No other presentations tonight. Number 6 is public comments concerning action items.
We did not receive any public comments prior to the,
Okay, so we didn't receive any public comments prior to the meeting.
and I don't know if there are any, I don't think anyone signed up for comments.
We'll check for signed up comments.
Those would be at the end of, not on the agenda.
Not on agenda items.
We do not have a need, do we have a need for an executive session? No executive session tonight, which leads us to item 8, action items for first reading. So this is,
I'll take the resolution.
all right, Debbie, you're on.
It's a resolution that we do every year around this time that allows employees to pay into our VEBA accounts. The account has to be approved by council, so that's what we're doing.
All right.
And can you just note that Kevin is here virtually, so everyone.
Oh, I'd like to make a note that Kevin Freeman, the mayor, is joining us on, what is that, the computer?
Remotely.
Virtual, yeah, remote.
Virtually.
Yeah, virtual.
I don't know what it is. I see his picture.
I'm
All right,
here.
so any questions on resolution 202?
I do have a question. So is this substantially the same as it was last year? Are there any
Yeah.
differences? Any substantive?
Substantially the same.
Okay.
Exactly, except the dates have changed.
Yeah, it's
it's
exactly
exactly
the
the
same.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution.
It's just first reading.
Oh, first reading, I'm sorry. Okay.
I have another question. Are we gonna have a special meeting before the end of the year to finalize this, or?
It can wait till January.
It can
We've
wait
done
until
before.
January.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what part of the reason it was late. I have it on my reminder to come in as on December because it always does.
Yeah.
But now that it's two touch, I didn't have the reminder for November, so now I have to change all my reminders. So that's why it's late, so I apologize.
Do we have any more questions for resolution 202? Okay, moving on to utility rate resolution.
Is the mayor taking that or? I am taking that.
So-
Debbie is gonna take that.
Okay. We don't actually have numbers to plug into the resolution yet, but we want to keep it on the radar of everybody knowing that we're going to have to do this by January. In January, yes. We are currently having to do all the tier calculations by hand, so it's gonna be a little bit more research and getting stuff together before we're ready with the passing of the resolution. So, just keeping it on your radar.
Anybody have any questions?
Oh, well, he asked if it was in thank you for sending me the working document. I mean, I agree, the analysis was stellar. The only critique I would offer at this point, because this is kind of a placeholder, is I don't think we should de-escalate anyone's. I don't think it's fair for some people to be increasing their rate at the same time we're decreasing. But as long as there's proportional, increases across the board, I mean, that was a very solid analysis. Praises to the mayor.
We'd just like to know what the gain could be.
Kevin has a comment. Kevin has his hand raised. Go ahead, Kevin.
So, first of all, Lisa, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear us?
Yes, very well, thank you. I'm going to leave my video off just because I think that overloads the system. So I just want to say that the aim of the city is to, as soon as we have the tier data or the consumption data by year and type, residential, commercial, irrigation, et cetera, we'll parse that data initially and then supply that data to the council so they can look at it themselves, and then city will take a rough first cut of, based on that consumption analysis, where tiers should be to basically to Ms. Beasley's comment, Councilmember Beasley's comment, but council will also have that same data that they will be able to look at, and we will be able to compare together. The other is I'd like to say that Mr. Sander did an excellent job of re-educating me using the AWWA, American Water Works Association rate document for the commercial multipliers. And so I was in error of my calculations on that. So at the next time we bring that rate back on fixed costs and meter sizes, we will be using Mr. Sanders' input and the AWWA manual to adjust those in accordance with nationally accepted standards of what those multipliers should be. So that is something that kudos to Mr. Sander, Councilmember Sander, for bringing that back up. He did a good job of looking at that. He worked with Mr. Erdahl over there, and they both went through everything. So at the next meeting in January, we will hopefully have a much clearer presentation with regards to our fixed fees, which would be our base rate using that meter size. And then I think the point of discussion, as is going on with many water purveyors in the city, is where we draw our lines for consumption tiers. And so council will have that data available to them to look at that, but city will also go through and take a determination of where we feel internally those best cutoffs or those best tier points would be.
All right. Anybody have any other questions? Kelly, go ahead.
I would second Commissioner Beasley's or Councilperson Beasley's comments on rate reductions for commercial. I don't think we need to be reducing comments, and apparently kudos to Councilmember Sanders for supplying us with his expertise. We appreciate it.
All right, any other comments? Seeing none, we're gonna move on to action items for consideration. This is for the consent agenda. November 2024 City Council regular city minutes. November 2024 special meeting minutes. November 2024 treasury report, payroll, and claims. Would any member like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, do I have a second?
I will second that.
We have a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none opposed, consent agenda passes. All right, so now we are moving on to reports.
I continue to work with the auditor on the last of the audit closeouts. So it's very tiring and we're reaching the end. And obviously jumping into rates when we can do that. So just chugging along at my normal pace.
Excellent. So, we have a group of scouts here, and I'm gonna go out of order. Is that okay?
Your agenda.
Yeah. We're gonna go out of order. Would any of you scouts, do you have any questions or do you have anything you'd like to say? Oh, come on, you gotta. Yeah, go ahead, man.
What does he have his camera on again?
It slows down the process and it'll break up what he says. Yeah, go ahead.
Is it true that the mayor has been the mayor in Spokane for 10 years?
In Millwood?
Millwood?
Yeah,
Wow,
Yeah.
almost
he's
12.
old.
You're welcome, Kevin.
It's good he's not on the screen.
You know, it might be helpful. How long have each of you been on the council?
Oh, my Lord.
And before that, planning commission? How long have you served the city?
So I've served the city for 18 and a half years. And most of that was planning and zoning. So I've served on city council but this is my second year.
How about you, Dan?
My 11th year on the city council.
I've been on council for 16 years.
I'm the newest one, 7 years.
7 years is new.
And I started out on the water, what was that called? Shoreline Master Plan.
Yeah.
That was my first voyage.
Citizens Advisory.
Then I was a planner for 1 or 2 terms. And then this is my 3rd term city council. I don't know what the term is.
And
What about you, Mayor?
just for, Mayor has been involved with the city of Millwood for 25 years. Started on the planning commission, moved to city council for 2 terms, and this is my 3rd term as mayor, so a while.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I'm Nathaniel. I'm the den leader for the Weelos and the Bears. And thanks once again for interacting with us and letting us come here. We've been learning about like the government nationwide, so I thought this would be a good idea for the boys to see it on a local level. Can you guys talk about some of the major things that you're proud of that you've done for Millwood on the local level as a board, or as a council, I'm sorry?
What haven't we done? Well, when I first started, we did the shoreline plan, and that was my first venture, and that was really interesting. Coming up with the high water marks and what you can and can't do. And sure, if you own a piece of property on the water, you own a piece of property, but you can't plant whatever you want. It's got to be native to the region. So, I mean, you learn so much. Yeah, go ahead.
What year did Millwood get made?
1928.
1828.
1928.
To have our 100th birthday.
Yeah.
We talked about that at our last meeting.
What's up, bud?
Does the mayor know the president?
No.
Hey, Mayor Freeman, do you know the president?
No.
So, boys, let them answer quickly some of the things they've been proud of for what they've done as a city council. And you're talking about the shoreline.
Yeah, we did the shoreline master plan, and then I think one of the first things that I was on council was painting the water tower.
Mhm.
And that was pretty neat. I mean, it's going to be there forever. and it's what Millwood's known for.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
We also did the interurban trail that runs through Millwood, and I came in the middle of Argonne, the original Argonne grind and repave overlay, and next year we'll be adding a turn lane for the decongestion project in the springtime.
I think another part of that overlay, or the Argonne project, is a wider sidewalk. That'll be a lot, not only safer, but it'll feel a lot better walking along Fairview, or along Argonne with a wide sidewalk with room for a bicycle and because the sidewalk now is pretty narrow. And I think the trail.
The trail's been one of the big ones.
I think one of the fun things is I'll be out doing something in the front yard and a neighbor will come by on a walk and they'll express to me a concern. And then you get to bring it here. Say, what about this? So it's really fun.
I think the other thing we're doing, and Debbie mentioned it earlier, that we are a little different than the city of Spokane Valley because we have our own sewer collection system and our own drinking water system. And that and our roads, and I think hopefully we're taking care of our roads. We hope to do some more next year and continue to maintain those roads, because other than that, if we don't maintain all those facilities, they're gonna wear out. And we see that in some of our roads that we need to repave or patch and the same with the water and sewer system. I think we need to keep looking at that. So we're a little bit different than some of the other cities.
I think in regards to public safety, we really have strived to, we've always had a scope department, so we always have had a robust volunteer force of community policing. We believe, or at least I believe, that your neighbors are actually what keep you the safest, but it became apparent that we did need to come up with a enhanced public safety, and so we moved with the sheriff's office to actually partner and get our own community-based police, so that it is not just this arm's length enforcement, but it's actually part of the overall community development plan.
And we're working on a 10-year park plan? Is that what it's called?
Oh, the comp plan?
Yeah.
Comprehensive plan? Yes, it's a 10-year
So,
comprehensive plan.
I think that's what it was called.
It is, yes.
I didn't want to look like an idiot. And so this will benefit you guys having the park robust. You'll have more things to play with. It'll be bigger. It'll be fun. It'll be interactive. And that's kind of, I have young kids too, so it's fun when you get to do something and see people enjoy it.
And we all use the park quite a bit. Various Scouts events, so thank you guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
And I would say it's a collection of small decisions that add up over time, right?
Yeah.
So we preserve Millwood's history with the help of staff. So it's not just us, but staff. So we protected the trees, things like that.
Trees.
So it's small decisions that add up to significant decisions.
Well, it's a lot of stuff you don't think about. You don't think about your trees. But you have to have a plan, because trees age and they'll die if you don't maintain things. Yeah, go ahead.
Is the mayor famous?
Oh, he is super. In my eyes, he's the most famous.
Yes.
He's very famous in his own.
He'll only charge you like $1.50 for it.
Why don't you ask the mayor that?
If he's famous?
Yes.
Kevin, are you famous?
I think, yeah.
I think I'm more infamous nowadays.
All right. So, any more questions, guys?
Well, it's good to thank the council for their time and letting us interact with them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, you guys come back anytime.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks.
We're always this much fun. All right. So, moving on. We are at Brian.
10B.
10B, yeah,
10B,
that'd
clerk-
be me.
clerk, Public records and code enforcement.
We currently have one public records request happening. The website is soon to be coming along. The minutes software is, of course, new software, so it's a challenge, but it's getting easier. So that's, I'm sure you've noticed the new format. It is a little bit different, but you know, there's all of them are just a little bit different, but I think it's working fine. And code enforcement, of course, it's Christmas time, so kind of a little laxing on that just a bit. Kind of gonna let some of those slide a little bit till January, but in January, I'm afraid we're gonna have some that we're gonna have to move on, and I'm not looking forward to it, but you know, that's what's gonna have to happen. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Lisa? Thank you very much, Lisa. Next we have facilities. Kyle.
So we finished off leaf season, got a grand total of 66 loads of leaves picked up around town and from public spaces. We're just now wrapping up all our machinery cleanup and maintenance from leaf pickup and starting to transition into the snow removal with the de-icer truck being the first piece of equipment getting ready to hit the streets when necessary. You've probably seen by now that ABC Arborists, also Sam's Tree Service, same thing. They've been out working on all the trees in the public areas that we received that DNR grant for. They mobilized in on December 2nd and have worked their way through the Arboretum and the park and removing all the unsafe and sick trees that were called out in the tree inventory. And they've also been pruning the rest of them to reduce and thin the canopy. Started the other day down on Dalton in front of Kevin's house on the Center Island trees, and they're starting to work their way east on those. And if weather permits, they should be wrapped up by the end of this week. I enrolled our newest hire, Sam, in a refresher course through SCC on tree pruning and tree climbing as he works towards getting his own ISA certification so he can start doing a lot of our tree maintenance. I've had to call out the county a couple times in the past couple months to look at the different traffic signals because we've had some crosswalk buttons glitching out and not functioning like they're supposed to. And he reiterated some stuff he said before, that there's some that they can still get parts for and fix, and then there are some other ones that are no longer supported, so they've been trying to limp those along until the Argonne project kicks off. And we finished up with all our sprinkler blowouts and seasonal meter and backflow device removals. And we're just gonna keep plugging on this week and next on getting all the plows and de-icers and all the equipment ready for when we do finally get snow.
Right. Hey, any questions for Kyle?
What do we do with all the wood? I mean, like, if we were to just walk by, are we allowed to just grab wood?
Well, normally it would be hauled off, but I talked to him and Matt and a couple of the other guys are gonna use it as firewood.
Okay.
Just so it didn't go through the chipper, you know?
Yeah.
Try to use it for something.
So Kyle, we had a place to go with all the leaves.
Yeah, there's a few people that took them for gardening and composting purposes. And I believe it was the last 39 loads ended up going up to Smart Gardens.
Nice.
And I think it was $25 a load like last year, same as last year. And I mean, after we did our little test the year prior with the loads to the transfer station, I can't remember exact numbers, but I think a dry load was just under $100. And I think a wet load was just pushing like 160, 180.
Ooh.
So at $25 a load,
Yeah, you can't beat that.
Yeah.
Kelly, you have a question?
I do. So Kyle, with Grace, that light seems quick. Do we control the signals for Grace?
We personally don't, but I got a county guy that I can talk to. You're saying east and west seems
Yeah,
quick?
east and west, yeah. So
make a note
coming
and talk to him.
tonight, it took me 2 lights to get through. And so it seems like we need more time to actually make that transition through.
Okay.
So if that's possible.
Yeah, I'll make a note of it and I'll email him tomorrow morning.
Perfect.
Shauna, you have a question?
Oh, I was just gonna say, if we wanted to follow up with getting some leaves for next year, do we just follow up with you and get on a list?
Yeah.
Thank
Any other questions for Kyle? Matt?
Okay, all the water samples came back good this month, which was nice because there's still people blowing out into December, so I was a little wary. With the colder temperatures, the old park generator had a hard time starting, so we put a heat block on that. And engine block, now it starts up just fine, going good. We took a water sample at Butler well, and it came back good, so that's our lead pump now because our flows are way down. That's our smaller pump. I finished up our water facilities inventory, got that sent off to the DOH and sewer. Everything's going good there now.
Any questions for Matt? Okay. Amanda's given hers. Legal.
Not a whole lot. As Lisa mentioned, we're trying to hold on code enforcement, trying to work with a couple property owners, and we're always trying to hope to not enter into litigation as a result of that, is all. The only other thing I was thinking about is we may want to think about in 25, a refresher on open government training. We haven't done that in a while. It is, it's kind of becoming, it's an audit issue. It's something that the auditors are looking for. I think this city's, Millwoods and all the elected officials and appointed officials, I think your open government etiquette, your public records processes, everything else are really good. I appreciate it. And I think just, another 1 hour refresher would be great for us. So we'll do that at some point, maybe next year.
What about Robert's Rules?
We have had that training in the past.
Yeah, I went to it.
And I think it was great training. My feeling has always been on strict parliamentary procedure, Robert's Rules, that if you need to conduct your meeting in accordance with the strict adherence to the rules, it says more about the group than it does about your processes. And that's okay. Sometimes you need that guidance. I think, you guys are great about getting a first and a second on a motion, even to adjourn, right? So I think really, Robert's Rules isn't required by the city. It's just a good practice so we can have it reflected in our minutes and have, show how action took place. So, but, Ann McFarland runs that, Jurassic Parliament. She's great and she loves parliamentary procedure.
She does. She's passionate about it.
She's
That's
very
what it
good.
takes, it's somebody that loves it.
Yeah, she has a monthly email newsletter that's kind of interesting too. I don't know if you guys subscribe to that, but it's free and it's good, kind of a good little refresher every month.
Kelly?
Mr. Worst, in terms of our last meeting, you didn't get a full comment on this. So in terms of the Spokane County population allocation, I assume you're going to be involved in that. I'm not sure I understand how it's coming up to 106 units for Millwood. Do you have understanding, or will you talk to Amanda? Will you be involved in that process?
With your request, I'm happy to. I have, I think what I've kind of tried to emphasize with the city in the past is in terms of policy is the city's, right? Legal adherence is something I'm here to help you with. This is a process. This is, in a lot of ways, this is a square peg in a round hole process that's being applied statewide. I'm not even certain that as you proceed through this process that it's gonna look and feel the same way from a legal basis as it is right now. But we're not alone, at least in terms of the size of the city, we're not alone in this. So I'm happy to, I openly embrace the opportunity to work with Amanda on it. I think we've got, that's why I chimed in on the sanctions part. GMA sanctions are heavy and this is kind of grounded in that, right? So we just need to be mindful of, as we proceed forward, what, I think the key for us, at least as the law and the process is currently framed, is attempt at compliance. And it's grounded in GMA, right? So you're planning, right? Planning doesn't, and good, it means good faith planning. It doesn't always mean planning achieves the actual result that you're shooting for. But we just need to be mindful of our actions need to be done in a good faith effort and in accordance with the law and the process.
So I would encourage council, do we need a motion to get you involved in terms of?
I'm good.
I think.
We hear you.
Okay.
We hear you.
So I think there's simple solutions, as you heard me say, like overlay districts. I'm sure that Amanda's familiar with floor area ratio, things like that. I think we could easily change C2 zone, make changes for mixed use, and minimize the impact that we have on residential zones. So I think I would urge that within our legal obligations, that would be the focus of council. We saw the average respondent from the survey was 26.6 years, right, to have things change. Especially, I worked 17 plus years to maintain our unique stature. I'm committed to that. But I think we have options, like overlay districts, so I think council should be involved, and legal counsel too, as to how we can comply.
I'd like to add on to that, because what I heard initially is that by one method, we were at 49, and that would be considered the min, and then at this other method, we would be 106. But in commiserate to what one of the commissioners said, our acreage is not equivalent to, say, a Liberty Lake. I mean, we're fully developed and land in one, so it's just the expectation cannot reasonably be that we would assume that.
No, I don't, maybe I misunderstood, but 106 was just kind of a spitball number, right? She's still waiting on numbers to come in.
No, well, 106 is in accordance with the method that's been adopted at the local level, right?
So may I interject for a few minutes?
Please.
So the 106 units is that method that has been recently rolled out at the state level, which is known as the Burke Method A Prime. And that is the method by which most of the jurisdictions within the state undergoing the 2026 revisions to their comprehensive plan amendments are required to conform with the Burke Method A Prime. So that HAP spreadsheet is no longer valid. We now, and that is not just Spokane County, but any other county undergoing that uses the Burke Method A Prime. I would hearken back to Mr. Worth's statement that this is planning, and we need to remember that while we have a unique identity, and I support that unique identity, and while we have longstanding citizens, Millwood is now within the urban growth area. We are not the same. We are not the same as a Ritzville, an Othello, Rockford, anything like that. We live within an urban growth boundary, and we will be expected to conform with urban standards, regardless of if we are a city of, 1,900 or 19,000 or 19 million. We are in an urban area. And so planning to those methods is important. Will we achieve those methods? No. Will we achieve what we need? No. We do not have the capability to provide the emergency housing. We have no facilities within Millwood that can provide that housing. Should we endeavor to work with other jurisdictions to cooperatively provide for emergency housing in the future? Probably. That would at least show that we are attempting to conform with the plan. But we, given our circumstances, as Councilmember BC and Councilmember Stravens alluded to, we're not going to be able to meet all of these requirements. We are land bound. We are land bound. We are currently lot size bound. We are lot coverage bound. We are a number of things like that our current regulations will keep us from targeting or reaching that 106 units in the distribution that we need to amongst those tranches of housing. We need so many emergency units. We need so much permanent supportive housing units. We need so many missing middle houses. You know, not every new residence that is built can be a single family large lot home. And I think that when we plan for this is where we need to be focusing, is how do we address the tranches that we are required to have in Millwood in a way that we best suits our city. Understanding that we're not going to be able to focus and say, well, we couldn't build 17 single family homes, so we're not doing any of it. Like Kelly said, overlay districts, that's going to be important. Are there places that we can look at, you know, these types of homes maybe that are in Magnolia Village, cottage homes, things like that? Are there areas of our city that may, or zones within our city that may be conducive to that? Should we consider allowing zero lot lines? Because in the state's rules, there's a difference between housing and home ownership. Both of those have targets. One is home ownership, one is housing. And do we attempt to achieve housing? Do we attempt to achieve home ownership? Do we attempt to achieve some mixture of that? But holding fast and trying to fight and say we're going to go our own way, as Mr. Worth says, sanctions in this are a real possibility, and those sanctions are not good. Ask Spokane County how the last many years of sanctions have gone for not being in compliance with the GMA. And as Scott Chesney, the planner of Spokane County, would say, we have strived for many years to get out of GMA jail. And once you are placed in GMA jail, it is very, very difficult to demonstrate that you are getting out of GMA jail. It is far better to be in compliance or be showing that you are attempting to achieve compliance with. Fighting it all the way is not going to work.
You've got options. That's the beauty of it, is the city's got options to plan with. And, you know, again, keeping in mind, good faith planning doesn't mean end results, because you're planning for property that's owned by private individuals. Just because you create an overlay, just because you allow some sort of housing, doesn't mean that that property owner has to do it, right? You're just creating options. Sorry, Councilman Sander.
Oh, Dan, I think in second what Brian was saying about this is a plan. You know, and I think as we look around the city of Millwood, we have a lot of opportunity for redevelopment. I mean, there's some places that definitely, some properties that need to be redeveloped, period. And I think that we have, we need to make sure we have the opportunity for those property owners to redevelop in a way along with our plan, but that also fits with the overall community. Yeah. So I think we just keep our eyes open and our ears open, our minds open for the plan, and encourage, make sure that we can encourage that higher density, which is voted on by the representatives in Olympia. So I mean, it's not like it was some foreign country. They see a need, and I think we all see a need about for the underhoused or the non, the people without houses. And I think we just keep our planning hat on and our vision.
Kelly? So I agree. Hey, Kevin, in terms of, so will they break it down? Will it just be 106 housing units, or will it be, they want so many single family? Will it be, is it just units, or is it more specific? Because historically with planning, there's a preference for infill basically, we have lots of infill, right? We have underutilized properties in C2. How does that break down? Or is that complicated and ripe for a special meeting for this discussion?
So that will be broken down by types of income housing for types of income brackets. So that is basically you will have to achieve the types of housing that will be affordable for various median income brackets, percent of median income, et cetera, et cetera. They're not calling out specific types of housing, like you need to have so many duplexes, so many multifamily apartments, things like that. So basically how you achieve that type of housing is going to be based on what you can develop within your jurisdiction. I think Amanda will be able to speak to that more once the county accepts the recommendation from the county PTAC as to the method, because even though the method is tossed out there by the state, the county still has to accept that method and has the ability to adjust or propose changes to that method, etc. But ultimately, it still rolls up to the county level. We're in a jurisdiction in the county, so we're a jurisdiction in Spokane County. So what the county puts in their comprehensive plan is what we are going to be required to follow into things like that. That's why we, as the city, chose to do our own land capacity analysis. So we have this local level of control. Otherwise, the county would do our LCA for us and assign us what they think we should get under that methodology. So that's why we've tried to do it. But Amanda is present enough and in tune and in communication enough with that PTAC group that she is having input there, and she will be able to more fully come in after that that method has been brought back before the steering committee of elected officials, voted on there for submission to the county, and then the county board of commissioners has accepted the recommendation from the steering committee of elected officials regarding that method. This was supposed to have all been done, I want to say 2 months ago, but most of it had to do with the fact that we went down the road of the housing for all template, and now we got hit with, a couple months ago, we got hit with this Burke Method A revisions and things like that. And so there's a lot more technical nuances that went into this than what the steering committee originally anticipated.
I see. And so this will come before us multiple times, and in terms of commercial and industrial, we didn't really touch on that, like the 3 employees per acre. That seems arbitrary. We could change that if we wanted to.
If we change it, we need to have rationale that shows how our change works to try and meet the requirements of the plan. So we're basically going to, if we don't like 3 and we want to do something else, we better be able to say, we're going to do X, and this is how X meets the requirements of the plan. And the reason why we've selected X is that in Millwood, it works best for us. We are not going to be able to get away with, wah, we don't like 3, we're saying X.
And we can be less restrictive in commercial. We could say in our commercial zones, we could allow multifamily. We could be less restrictive, and that counts as well.
Yes.
Okay.
It counts as well as if you are meeting the buckets of affordability. If all you want to build, Mr. Stravens, is high-end condos overlooking the river, that's not going to meet our affordability buckets.
No, but I think if we did an overlay district with high-end condos, and then we did we don't even need an overlay district if we take away the residential restriction on commercial property on Trent, I think we're covered. I think this is easy. I don't think it's that hard.
So wait, so only rich people get to live on the river and then everybody else gets relegated to Trent?
No, we can do C2. We can do overlay districts, but we can handle this with overlay districts. I don't think this is that complicated. So we could do a subcommittee for the council, but this isn't, I think we can accomplish this easy, but we could do a special meeting.
Well, I think you gotta keep in mind your process. I mean, these will be code revisions, starting with the planning commission who holds public hearings.
Right.
Yeah, so, yeah. So I wouldn't get too worked up where we're at on numbers and where we're at. I love the optimism that you're expressing. Let's just keep in mind, we do have a planning commission process that will come forward to you, and they'll.
Of course.
Yep.
Okay, Kevin, do you have anything?
So just a couple quick things. We will have coming before you a couple things. One will be a revision to our, Mr. Worst, help me out, our hearing examiner costs. City of Spokane has adjusted those rates for the hearing examiner, but we haven't used the hearing examiner that much, but we do have to accept those new rates, correct?
Correct. Yeah, they and it's not a substantial rate increase. They're not proposing. The city of Spokane, to the extent we use their hearing examiner, which we have to use a hearing examiner for certain code processes for review, would be the rate of $150 per hour for the hearing examiner and $60 per hour for the assistant to the hearing examiner. So we don't use those services a great deal. There are certain times where we have to, but I'll look at the interlocal and take a look. There are other options. But right now, that's relatively inexpensive for the hearing examiner option statewide. Okay.
Thank you. The other thing is that.
Hold on, Kevin. Hold on, Kevin.
Council question.
Well, just.
Go ahead.
So this is just a rate adjustment or just new rates for how we're already using it. This is separate from that conversation of like, should we use a hearing examiner instead of the quasi judicial?
Yeah.
This is a total separate conversation.
Yeah, this is just when the hearing examiner is triggered by, by our code process, and there's an appeal or a review process.
Fair.
The other is that as part of the Argonne project, it has been suggested to us by WashDOT that we utilize City of Spokane's purchasing agreement for signalization, signal poles, et cetera, et cetera. That would have a savings to the city, but we need an interlocal agreement that basically says we can piggyback on City of Spokane's contract, and that they allow us, because we have other types of interlocal agreements. This is not an unusual interlocal agreement, and because time is of the essence with this, I would like to bring this to council in January for a single touch, because it would just simply be review this interlocal agreement and authorize use of this interlocal agreement between City of Spokane and Millwood for purchasing. So that would be the only thing. If that becomes an issue, that's something else. But I would like to get this done, because the trouble is that City of Spokane's system could take it up to, I think it's at least 4 to 5 weeks for them to get on there, to get before their council, if not more. So if we go 2 touches, 2 months, and then it takes them another 2 months, Otherwise, that would put it into, you know, well into March. That otherwise we'll just go it alone and use standard procurement procedures. Lastly is
Kev,
is
Mayor,
we-
real quick,
Yeah.
the expenditure that interlocal would allow, it's already budgeted for and approved as part of the project, correct?
Correct. This is just a purchasing vehicle. This does not change any sort of expenditure. This is not any sort of contract that we are entering into that is a side contract or a new contract. This is simply allowing us to utilize City of Spokane's contract. This is equivalent to us using, in a way, it's equivalent to us using the MRSC roster or the other state rosters that we use for purchasing currently.
Okay, thank you.
The last is that we are in the process of submitting to the sheriff's office our logos, etc., for the livery design for the Millwood deputy. We hope to have some information regarding when that deputy position will be staffed and started, probably in the first month of 2025.
Excellent.
That's it.
All right, anybody have any questions for Mayor? Okay, nobody. So next we have public remarks.
There are none written down, but I believe some.
There's
people
no
would like to
public
talk.
remarks written. This is an opportunity for the public to give remarks. Please limit yourself to 2 minutes. Approach the, go ahead. State your name and your address for the record.
Todd Beasy, East 8610, East South Riverway. I have the new Millwood Neighborhood Advocates newsletter is out. You can pick it up at different businesses in the area. And on the back, it has the Millwood History Enthusiasts, a story talking about them. So that should be pretty interesting. The other thing I'd like to bring up is that the tree lighting in Winterfest was a big success. It's the most people I've ever seen there. There were people on the sidewalk north and south of Dalton watching the festivities. One thing I'd like to clear up, it runs from 4 until 7. The Christmas market runs from 4 until 7. The tree lighting, the festivities start at 6 o'clock, not the tree lighting. So if you hear people saying, well, it started late, please remind them that the festivities started at 6 and then the tree lighting after the band and the dancing and stuff. And I've mentioned that to a number of people who were wondering why it was late, and they were all okay with it. So thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Any update on the child, the little girl that was hit?
Oh, over here? I haven't heard anything update about that, nor of the person who fell over in the parking lot behind Bottles. So there were 2 incidences that I know of. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Anybody else have public remarks? Third and final call for public remarks. Seeing none, we move on to council remarks. Councilman Stravens.
I'd just like to say Merry Christmas to everyone, Happy Holidays, go Zags.
Sanders.
Well, congratulations for the fire district on your new training facility.
Merry Christmas and thanks for the leaf pickup this month. The streets look really good.
I would like to first thank the staff for everything that you do.
But I also like to say Merry Christmas. The last thing I have is in January, I'm starting a program with Millwood Impact. I've been invited as a city council member to do a 5-month program with their fifth graders, which is the age that they age out. So there'll be 14 fifth graders from Ness and Orchard Center, and I'll be teaching leadership and civic engagement. And the reason why I'm bringing this to you is part of our celebration is they will be featured. Their little project that they're going to do over 4 or 5 months is going to be featured at a community dinner in May. And I would like to ask your guys' permission to put on the June agenda that these superstars amongst us come and present their Millwood project that they did here in regards to good leadership and neighboring. So may I put that on the agenda for June?
Yes, please.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, and I thank you guys for everything you do, and Merry Christmas to all. I think that is all. We're gonna.
Good night.
Yeah.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Well, we gotta set the meeting, the next meeting.
My bad.
And the next meeting is gonna be. Gotta figure out where my calendar.
14th.
January 14th.
Yep.
6 p.m. 6 p.m.
Oh, January 14th, 6 p.m. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the meeting is adjourned.
So Lisa,